Beautiful. Good morning, everybody. Morning to here, Djuma Private Game Reserve in Sabi in Lowveld, where the temperatures for the day 72 Fahrenheit, 22 degrees. Yeah, that's warm already, and it just looks like it's promising it's going to be very warm today. And it started with a temperature of 22 degrees overall. It's gone too far already, and we're looking at the beautiful impala, and also combined with some wildebeest, as they always do, for your own safety. And looking at this beautiful open area here, we're right at quarantine. My name's Andrew this morning, and I'm on camera this morning. So this is how we're going to be taking you into safari live. But we're sitting right here on the western side of quarantine, looking at impalas and the wildebeest. Impalas and the wildebeest, they always love to be together, as they all form group, love one another, take care of one another. And of course, sometimes you find a zebra, sometimes you find a giraffe, as well as a warthog in the area if they're around. In that case, and they all have to all look after each other in terms of safety. It's all about the safety, nothing to do about creating food. Of course, when it comes to the food, it's at least better that way, where the wildebeest or zebra, they will go first, and the wildebeest will come second, the impalas will go as a third. So it's something to do in terms of how they help each other that way, but it's a main of a safety. That's why they're all together this way. So these are blue or brindagunu, and then impalas. There's an impala, a regular impala that we see every time around here. Never seen black-faced impala, which is that I don't think I was able to see. It is not around. So everybody is doing their best of browsing in that particular tree, and that's actually a very good advantage for them, able to look around at the same time when they do that. But you can see already the sun shining through them, and they haven't actually moved into the thicket yet, but they will be, because they won't keep on grazing all day. They will probably just gonna kind of dilute or mix in going into the bushes, browsing. But these wildebeest are probably gonna have a good time here, running around. As you can see, some of them are trying to play fight. And remember, they are seasonal breeder as well. So a lot of the female, all impalas and the wildebeest females are heavily pregnant right now. So for wildebeest, anything from December, then you'll see a lot of baby running around. Impalas, November, December also the same time, and then you'll see a lot of these baby impala running around here. They are, most babies are vulnerable when they're younger, but it's better that way. The all females will take care of their baby, make sure all safe. They give birth, isolate in the thicket, make sure the baby gets strong enough. Good morning, cutthroat breed. You're right, they are elegant animals, especially that they do their best of grouping up together and form big high rim. You see there, they're only dominated by one male. You see about 100 impalas, sometimes 70 impalas in the one group. And what it does, they one male as a dominate. So I'm gonna search around here. It's been a leopard track's been seen. That's why we stopped with this impala, but there's nothing here happening. So we're just gonna check for any tracks. Could be Tlalamba, you never know, our princess. I'm gonna take you to another safari as we do that.
Good morning and welcome to the Masai Mara. My name is Tim. We have a very beautiful scenery here. We have at least one lion in the long grasses there. See how he's hiding in the long grass. But I can see some wildebeest that are approaching towards that direction and he's staring away. looking. Not quite sure what he's up to, but seems like there was a lioness within this sighting here. The wildebeest are walking far away. Sometimes that is what deters them from actually hunt. My name is Tim, and behind camera we have Big James. Very cool morning where we watch wildebeest walking in the distance. Seems something spooked them because they were running just before we got here, only to find that lion hiding in the long grass. But these wildebeest have not seen the lion yet. Seems like maybe there might be another lion who was pursuing them. So let's wait and see if there was another lion waiting in the long grasses, because they seemed like they were a little bit scared. As I take you over to another safari vehicle.
Dumela, hello and welcome. Very good morning to everybody. What a fantastic way to start the morning with a little flat-eared box. Gorgeous little animal. We just saw him resting and we thought, what a perfect opportunity. Very good morning. Welcome to Tswalu Kalahari. I am Kyle. Behind camera is David. Welcome. But what a great way to start the morning with this little amazing animal. Taking a little seat. It's still quite cool here this morning. It's only about 13 degrees, but it's definitely going to warm up. And what we're going to be doing for this morning is, from here, is we're going to be looking for Mom and 4, the original cheese that we saw on that springbok carcass. It must have been about 3 weeks ago now, if not longer. Sure. But this little chap taking it easy now for this period of the morning. But his partner should be somewhere nearby. Myself and David are trying to soak up this coolness. Bridget, how many fox species do we have in Tswalu? So the terminology fox, that would be the battered fox and the Cape fox. Those would be the two species that we have here and we see very frequently, especially in winter. And then early morning, just like this individual over here. It's always a treat to see these little animals. Those massive 13 centimeter ears. And obviously utilizing those ears as a very efficient tool to go in search of prey under the ground. Decided to move. So it's more than likely got a den site here. They rest or reside underground, which will be burrows created by themselves, or they can modify burrows from other animals. And you normally see them in pairs, but not uncommon to see them in small family groups, which would be mom and dad. They form monogamous pairs. So pairs that stay together for quite a while, and then you'll have offspring. It's not coming out. The offspring remaining with the parents for a certain period as well. Okay. Cool. Thank you, Battered Fox. Maybe we should move on as well. We're going to be heading south, and then we're going to be scratching around just over here on the southeastern corner of this block. We're going to send you off, and we'll see you in a bit.
Always admire when I come across bat-eared foxes, but here we have a lioness. It seems like she's got something, but the look of it, I saw her lifting it. Could be a reedbuck. Yes. Let's see if it's a reedbuck or an impala. sometimes because of the long grasses, you can't really tell what it's in the long grasses because sometimes they blend in and sometimes the grass cover can also make it difficult. So she's watching over the lion, the male lion that was on the other side. And it seems like the male lion has got an attention. And I'm sure he will not tolerate that. He might come and snatch it from her. So what's going to happen? She has to eat as much as she can. Or because it's a light meal, maybe she might even run away with it. She's actually growling at him because she doesn't want him closer, because she knows definitely when he comes there, he's going to lose that kill. So at this time, you find that lions will be particularly hunting because it's cool. Maybe if she missed out during the night, then if there's a male lion within, they might get that attention and come directly to get something out of the kill. And sometimes because of, look at how muscular, how big he is, they get to eat fast. And after they've had their food, then the lionesses get in. But since it's a small meal, she might end up losing it. Can you hear growling still? Her posture shows that she is not happy at all. She's not happy at all, at all. Look at her posture. As soon as the male sits down, then she carries on to eat. So I'm going to get a good angle for us to see the both lions and see what is going to unfold as I take you over to another live location.
Well, sounds like an interesting morning in the Masai Mara already. Unfortunately, there was an elephant there. It's just disappeared. There's a big bull elephant that was off in the distance. But, you know, as life goes, they disappear somewhere, as has Kalahari too, which I'll get into shortly. My name is Tristan. On camera, I have got Theo this morning. And like I was saying, we were tracking Kalahari from, well, we think it's Kalahari. The tracks come right from our camp. And they were moving up and kind of through Gallagher shortcuts, and we were driving around and we've checked, and all of a sudden the tracks have just disappeared on us right at the edge of the boundary. But they must be... She must be somewhere close because there's no tracks cutting over the boundary, and we're only about 50 meters south of it, so she must be just somewhere close by in the bush here, just milling about. Maybe she's taken an interest in this elephant too and just kind of stopped and is having a little look around. So we'll just double check here. I'm sure eventually we'll get lucky and we'll be able to find her. But nice to see an Ellie in amongst all of the greenery. It looks like a young bull that's by himself.
Yeah, so from where I am,
just listening to
no concept that is coming towards you, but it's not like it's same close from away.
Copy. So Mike is just letting me know, because Mike is helping me with these tracks. He's saying that from where he is, which is, like I said, maybe about 20 meters from where we are, her track cuts off the road, so we must just double check a little bit around here. Maybe she's just lying down somewhere close by. She's obviously walked quite a long way. She was seen yesterday evening quite far up in Buffelshoek. So if it is her, she's covered a serious amount of ground in the last little bit, which is not unlike Kalahari. She likes to move a long way. But isn't he a beautiful specimen of an Ellie? You can see he's already flapping his ears a little bit, and that's because this morning is already quite warm. The predicted forecast for today is about 39 degrees Celsius, which is going to be hot. It already feels much warmer than it has done the previous mornings, and so you'll see with ellies, given that they obviously are large bodies that are fairly dark in nature, the sun really does get to them pretty quickly. So when you see that EF just gently flapping every now and then, that's just to try and control his body heat. The nice thing for the ellies today is that there is a little bit of a breeze, and so if he just turns his body towards where the wind is blowing from, well, then he'll be able to kind of cool his blood vessels down without him actually even having to flap too much. So you'll see sometimes they just hold their ears out slightly, and the wind will blow and kind of cool things down. But absolutely magnificent to watch him kind of disappear through the vegetation. All right, we're going to try and see if we can find this naughty little spotted cat. Maybe she's somewhere very, very close by.
Go again.
Trevor.
Good morning, everybody. So here we managed to find some lions. I'm just trying to find a good spot here. There we go. Riverbed. So welcome to andBeyond the morning safari. As you can see here, we have got the young Birmingham female with her two little cubs that we saw during the lockdown. The ones that were born, we were working it out. They're now probably about 4 or 5 months old. So you do remember them. They find us many a great sighting. Oh, very, very inquisitive. Good to know that the young male, his tail has grown back. Now this morning you'll be with myself, Sean. We've got the Odison behind camera. And it is a very warm morning. Looks like it's going to be a cooking of a day. But it should all the little cubs. They're just playing around here. Very, very curious, these little ones. Do you remember? So there was a male and a female. Well, not was. There is a male and a female. The lighter one is the male. The dark one is the female. That one there on the screen is the young female. Inquisitive. Are we down in the river? This is actually the area where Rowan first saw them. First time we saw them open was right here. Very bush. Like hanging around. And here, I don't know if you can hear, there are baboons calling all over here. With them walking down the river. Quite curious, very alert. Even the mother is very, very alert, watching. Look, this baboons are calling, giving away her position. Beautiful there, you must have heard that. That's baboons. So she will watch them, just sure they're calling. Anyone who possibly.
Well, from chilled out lionesses to very active jackal puppies, there are 3 of them in this particular litter, but I see only 2. Well, I think he understood English and he wanted to prove me wrong. He has decided to sleep. But you can see the other one is still quite active. They're usually very playful, the silverback jackal or blackback jackal. One of the 3 small jackals that we find here in the Masai Mara. An animal associated with lions. When you see it, you sometimes will see a lion or a lioness. Also, maybe there could be a kill. Another thing about these guys, they pair for life and they're very vocal. You know, these guys were born after a gestation period of about 60 days, and they can be up to 6 of them. Their parents usually leave them and they go foraging. They are omnivorous. Surprisingly, they'll eat fruit, small fruits, as well as plenty of meat. At this age, they are not drinking, but food is being brought to them. Silverback jackal or blackback jackal looks like they are attracting, attention. They're becoming very, very famous. They have a den not very far from where I am, and I've been seeing 3 throughout. So it's such a lovely sight to have. Every now and then, they'll come and go underneath the vehicle. They've gotten used to me now. And it's really nice to to have them this close. Those big ears are for listening in the long grass as well as for long distances. They can hear, vultures fighting over kill, hyenas, lions breaking bones, and so they can easily, locate the kill. These guys, for defense, I tell you, they can run and they can turn at very sharp angles, and that is their defense mechanism, running and dodging and darting at very sharp angles. Usually they escape most of the chases. Their senses are all very, very good. This small canid was associated or was said to be a very, of scavenger, but I can prove you wrong. These guys hunt. Only very few times that they, scavenge. Most of the time they just, hunt. Is looking at something in the air, maybe a bird. Yeah, the face looks like many other, dogs, like foxes, coyotes, but, they are jackals. We have 3 types of jackals in the Masai Mara: the side-striped, the silver-backed, and the golden. But the golden, you find it over the border in Serengeti. The side-striped is much more rare and solitary, slightly bigger, and they can never mate, they can never breed, and they don't like each other. The side-striped jackal usually chases the silver-backed, and most of the time it tries to kill it. So they are not good friends at all. But look at that beauty. The colors haven't come out really yet. That gold rusty color brown is going to get deep. Also the mix of gray and black is going to get richer, hence the name, silver-backed or the black-backed. You can never really tell which one is much more prominent than the other, but that black tip of the tail is typical for these small guys. Look at that, so beautiful. Remember, this is live. We are here in the Masai Mara. Jumbo Jackal is coming to say hello. Right now they have a very carefree life, but they have a long life ahead that is very, very tough and full of competition. Okay, looks like it's heading out into the bush. The best thing for me to do is to leave them at peace and find something else further down. Mission a lion, I'm still on. That's what I'm going to look. So let me go further down. Hopefully I can find something for you guys.
From the jackals who are scavengers sometimes, and they will be very happy if they come across whatever this lioness has left over. She's still eating whatever she's got. I suspect maybe it was a ridgeback or a baby impala by the look of it. But since I didn't get a good visual, I'm suspecting it's just either of the two. It was a small male, a baby one, so she's going to eat it all by herself. I'm sure the male will not have something to share unless if he tries to get closer. So yesterday I was following this lioness and she looks like she has tiny cubs. She's not left this area, so probably she might have hidden them just where we can see those trees below. And I hope that soon she'll be able to bring those cute cubs out. Linda, she doesn't want any company for breakfast. I agree with you. She's nursing. She's got cubs to nurse. They need her so much. They need their milk. So she doesn't have to share this. And especially a small meal like this. If it was a big meal, then I wouldn't be worried. But sometimes, they have to defend themselves from these lions that come to take over their meals. So this meal will not be that much enough. At least we'll give it energy
to hunt out later. The male is still sleeping in the long grasses. She knows that if he comes across here, then he's going to be in trouble. Then this male, Split Nose, was here around 2 weeks ago. He was trying to mate one of the riverbed lionesses. He was not welcome. We saw Lalashi who came in with his son. Then here we go. We see him this morning around here. So when these lions have cubs, they will not tolerate another lion, especially if it's the one that did not father her. So this will be a danger to the cubs. That's why you can see he's over in the distance, not welcome near that lioness. Because pride males will be tolerated near a meal, near carcass by the pride lionesses. So this means that he's not the father of those cubs. And by the look of her, how she's staring at him, she's not happy with him, not want him any closer. If they tolerate him around this place, then that means the cubs will have to be killed. And I'm sure the mother's instinct just speaks in, and she has to do what she can to keep that lion away from here. Rusticated, thank you so much for your question. It's not rare for a lion to bring down an impala. They will use the opportunity as much as they can. Whatever comes their path, they will take it down, be it a Thompson gazelle, be it a rabbit, be it a warthog, and an impala. They prefer bigger prey because it can sustain a pride for long, about 3 to 4 days. So if there's an opportunity that comes their way, they'll definitely go after. So it's not rare for them to take impala. As she's enjoying her meal, she keeps on checking if the male is coming closer. Chicks, thank you for your question. The male here is by himself. He doesn't have company. He doesn't have a coalition. His name is Split Nose. So he's been walking around in these territories trying to habituate these lionesses, but they're not happy with her. So he's going to be a loner until he gets another lion where they can form a coalition. But in the meantime, he's by himself. He's slowly cleaning himself as wildebeest. I can see wildebeest walking behind him. They've not even got a scent. So I'm going to hang around here and see what these lions are up to as I take you over to another live location.
Good morning and welcome to andBeyond, Phinda Private Game Reserve. We have some little warthogs in the grass, just sort of disappeared there. I think you can get a bit of a view. You can see that mother warthog busy feeding. She's got 2 little piglets behind her. You can see there. There's the one crossing in. I don't know where this... Oh, there's the second one. Just about a walk of a view. It's a wonderful morning here at andBeyond Phinda. It's quite a nice warm morning. It's not a breath of air. My name is Kim, and behind the camera we have Gert, and we will be with you this morning. So our plan was we went looking for those lions that we saw yesterday. We managed to find some tracks, but they seem to have gone off into this really big block. So we're busy circling, trying to find if their tracks come out. If they don't, unfortunately, we're going to have to leave the area because it's very thick in there and not really a place we can access with the vehicle. So we're going to just continue going down the roads and checking if we see any tracks coming out, and hopefully manage to find some tracks and find this lion. It would be wonderful to see them. It's amazing actually sometimes how far a lion can walk during the evening. So hopefully they've walked far enough. So they've walked far enough.
Sorry about that. So we're back to this very waterhole, Beversuk Dam right here. And there's a bunch of hippo having a good time. And when I arrived in this waterhole, I thought there's only one hippo. As you can see now, there's only one up and the rest are down. And they can hold their breath for about sometimes 6 to 8 minutes. And that's why I always say that. You know, a while ago, people didn't know exactly how to deal or how to collect water from one of these watering hole that you see out there, where you found the hippo was there, but then first what you do, you gotta have to check, because sometimes if one of these single male they just lost the fight and they're not territorial or not dominant anymore, and they will isolate themselves, and they find a very small water hole, or could be bigger, and they will stick around there. So all they do during the day, they all submit down and then come up to take a breath again. So sometimes they can handle for that long underneath of the water before they can come out to take that breath. And then you find yourself right into that water hole trying to catch fish with a net, what they used to do. And then a lot of time, North African get killed by hippo a lot of time. But at least now everybody aware of the hippo's behavior, where they're kind of the animal that they don't really like company, they don't trust. They wouldn't mind other animals coming to drink in this water hole. But if we're going to have to take a swim from this far, where we are right now, you would see a big change there. They're all going to just make a lot of noises, and this is a warning they can give when they're not happy. It's a plenty of water everywhere. Looks like it's going to be a lot of water this year, since the rain has started already. You've seen that. And grass is already shoots. And the hippo prefer short grass. And they have a very square mouth, but wider square mouth, which allows them to reach the ground. They have very short legs, and then they are able to reach the ground because their head is always pointed down very much, and they graze all night. But what they do, you know, it's a lot of a termite mound here in this area, where this termite mound, sometimes the grasses that grow around this termite mound is very much favorite for the hippo. So a lot of time you may find them around the mound. Well, also the rhino could be doing the same with the sweet grasses. But when they're outside of the water, this is where they're even more dangerous, because if you're walking without a torch, you hardly see them, especially in the pitch dark, where they don't have much color on them. So you're more likely to, or they bump on you, or you bump on them, and you'll die right on the spot. They're very territorial and a deadly animal. So for their self-defense, we understand all animals, especially with a hippo, that don't have anything else they can able to defend themselves, and they only have this, tooth they have, and able to defend themselves from danger. And for the bull, they were able to use them for fighting between another male. You know, they are very strict in terms of who is dominating, who is not. When it comes to that, the bull will have to challenge one another for a fight. And one lost fight, get away out of the water, travel sometimes, spend a lot of time outside of the water if there's not many of the water hole. And that hippo, find him suffer. The skin usually just lost control, burned up, cracked, bleeding take place, becomes painful. And then there's the oxpeckers in this area, where they also deal with this open wound for the animals. And this is what they also irritate the hippos outside of the water when they have that kind of injury, because they go pick on the red flesh. And then it becomes so painful that hippo become very much dangerous if he ever found around, walking around near him. But they're cool. They don't actually wander around during the day. They're also in the water, and we're more likely to move around when it's light enough, so we don't have a problem with them. Look at that. So gestation period of hippo is only 8 months, 7.5, 8 months. Jane, good morning to your very much beautiful show this morning. You want to know how far hippo can see. So at night, they can see very well, like most animals can. And then, well, most of nocturnal animals, they see kind of infrared sort of, but very clear for them to be able to see distances. So anything from maybe 100 meters, 80 meters, somewhere there, and they still see clearly. But then they have to rely on hearing as well. So if there's anything move around and they hear it, they must freeze and paying a lot of attention to what could be around them. So yeah, they can see well. Also in the day, they can see very well as other animals can. Oh, you hear that? We're talking about the noise they make. They just did it. So yeah, 8 months gestation period, 7 or 8 months. Indeed, it's a beautiful sound. I mean, usually when they make sound, it's all about either warning if something arrives, especially cats. When they arrive into this water hole, you will hear hippo make sound. But if it's other general animals which are not dangerous to them, and then it's fine. But now what I see here is nothing. So it's all about communication. They play a lot, especially when they have a young one where you can swim, dive down and also come up and stuff like that. And they are so a beautiful animal. So predators, mainly lions, would take these crocodiles sometimes when their young one left behind. I've seen hyena take one of the young one. Something happened, the mother, she was so far away, and that baby cannot move fast enough. And then it happens, a whole bunch of hyena just grab it and, trying to share it immediately. And it was sad to watch that happen. So, but the bigger one is still fine, unless if they are maybe sick and, of course, open wound where they smell bad. Sometimes hyena will get around trying to see if they can still feed on that animal still alive. You're right. I think you get it well there. Yeah, you're right, very much. Hey. Look now, they all just look like nobody there when they're all down, until that one get up and you're able to see the nostrils. And the only unique way of them submit down is so special about these nostrils, because there's a special kind of system where the shut muscle allow them to shut these nostrils permanently closed. and their ears as well at the same times, and they close their eyes. But that time they have to go down. And every time they come up, you really hear them, these nostrils, when they open, looks like there's a pop of probably champagne bottles, like you can hear there's air blowed up, and it's how to take breath. They have very small ears as well, but hearing is great, especially when they're outside of the water and bees are feeding. They can come out sometimes when they want to in the daylight, but they don't have to travel far. Then one of the bull will come and defecate just outside of the water, see the tail switch both sides. This is where the defecation happened. There's also one of the grey heron in the background. So I'm going to carry on to search the boundary, the eastern boundary here, and then while we do that, let's take you to another safari life.
Well, it's off to a very, very warm start this morning, as I'm sure every other safari guide has mentioned to you. But we are starting our day off with an elephant, having some breakfast. I'm quite hungry this morning, actually. I could do with a little biscuit or something. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me today is Sebastian Rombi, and we are here at Pridelands, which is part of Tswalu Game Reserve and the Greater Kruger National Park. And we've actually been quite busy today because we were following up on Pixie Pan, which is a female leopard, and we were able to see her yesterday on the Sunset Safari, quite late in the afternoon. Maybe you caught that. So she's gone marching off to the east, but not with her cubs. So it means that those two youngsters are still stashed behind in Glorview Dam. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move forward a little bit because I think, Seb, just to get you a better view, because these elephants are moving. They're just feeding off into the bushes, as Mr. James Henry would say. Hey, boy. Quite a nice big elephant. Well, not necessarily enormous in size, but he's got a decent pair of tusks on him. And what are you feeding on? Some form of an acacia, flaky bark acacia. Yum, delicious. You can see those bright green leaves, and it forms one of the favorite foods of pretty much all the browsers out here. Anyone that eats leaves loves to eat an acacia. They have got such great nutrients in them, lots of nitrogen in the leaves, and that's also very important for an animal's diet. And it's a pity that it's not super clear because you can just see the Drakensberg Mountains. Can you see that, Seb? Just above his head. But it's a bit hazy today. But there's a small glimpse of the Drakensberg just over there, which is quite nice. We really do have a spectacular view on nice, clear days. I think maybe this afternoon it should be quite good. So hopefully these bulls will be in a similar area, or maybe we have even something else that's even more exciting. And we can try and get you a good spot. I'm gonna reposition one more time because there's a little elephant and we can't see him. And the reason why I want to reposition is because we've been looking for Limpy. Remember Limpy, our dear friend? The elephant with the short leg. Haven't seen him for ages, and I don't know where he's gone. So I wanted to see if it was him, because it looks like he's resting one of his legs. No, maybe not. But he's notorious for hanging around with the biggest of the big bulls on the property. Normally it's with Kumo, one of our favorite elephants. So I just want to watch and see what he does, but I don't think it is him. But I would like to find him again. He's not eating an acacia though. He is feeding on, it looks like that Grevia velosa, which is another one of the Grevia species. You get a nice big round leaf and the most sandpaper-like leaf of all the Grevias. The animals seem to be fond of that too. I'm also about to sneeze, so apologies in advance. So, excuse me. Thank you. Allergies all around. I suppose it's a good thing though, hey? It's a sign of spring and summer, with all the grasses now growing, all that are going to start to develop, all sorts of things. But you can see them there, just specifically looking for one type of plant. Elephants have surprisingly got thousands and thousands of taste buds, so they do also have a very keen sense of taste. So I'm sure that there are some plants that they definitely prefer to others. It's just nice to see how we've got two different elephants eating two very different things. He couldn't stick his head further into that shrub, even if he tried. Now, I don't think that the grevia gives off as much tannins as something like the acacia, so I think that he is able to feed on it for a little bit longer. Normally what happens is that these plants will give off in a pheromone form of tannins, and it turns the leaf quite bitter and doesn't make it as palatable. That's just to stop the animals from completely browsing that tree until there's nothing left.
Finally managed to keep up with this lioness. Now she seems to have settled down. And for all of you long-time viewers, we are also now very close to where she used to den. Not the first den, the very first den. Along the banks of the Timbavati here, she's got a little island in the middle, a little palm tree behind her off to the right. And we've followed her. She's probably walked now this morning, maybe just under a kilometer with the little one. They just went down the bank behind her. But he's walked quite far, and this is where she decided to settle. As sure as all the other guides have been saying, it is very hot. Hot up here at Ngala as well. That's most like why she settled down. She's in an area that she knows. Found a lovely spot in the shade, and now she's just leaving it, heading down the bank. So that's where the youngsters went, the two little cubs. They ventured down there. We see if we can get around there and have a look. So there's a little bit of shade on that side. I'm going to see if we can get a spot from the top here. But we're going to loop around, as I said, see if we can get another look.
Now our lion is showing concern, and it seems like he wants to get closer to the lioness, but the lioness is growling and not happy at all. I can see the lioness approaching, and I'm sure this is not going to be friendly. It's not going to be friendly at all. And she's already stopped. It seems like she wants to get closer. There's an indication that she has cubs around there, and she's not friendly at all. Look at how she's growling and snarling at him. Yes, she's getting closer. She definitely knows that if he gets closer to the cubs, then the cubs will be normal. She has to do as much as she can to keep him off. So I'm going to watch as she tries to get closer to this male Bob Marley or split nose as I take you over to another live location.
Well, from lions to ostriches in season, that is a male in full breeding plumage. That color is the color of love, as I always say. For them, they don't speak English. They speak, different, language, which is ostrich language, and that can send a message. It tells a lot. I want you, I'm ready. And in birds, very much so. I've always been saying they come into season. They change their colors to excite the females. And this is the Maasai ostrich. Usually he does a mating dance. And if impressed, a female will always present herself. Looks like there is two females here, so he is lost with choice, I think, this guy. And definitely they have been mating, because I have seen this guy with this color, and these females have been following him for quite a bit. Ostriches go in flocks of up to 60, more in arid areas. They are more, seen in flocks up to 60. Here we see up to 10, 15, and it's a bird that is flightless, but can run really fast to get away from predators, very much, catching top speeds of up to 40 kilometers an hour, and can dart and dodge, predators at very sharp angles, leaving them, lost and wondering what has just happened. If cornered, they have a claw. It's one of the only flightless birds that have got 2 toes, and Tom, good morning, or Jumbo. I hope the male does a dance. I hope the same. I'm looking forward to seeing him trying to impress the females. I was talking about the claw. They have 2 toes, and one claw is longer than the other, and underneath it's very padded and full of grip to enable them to grip the ground while running. And they have, evolved to have very strong bones that can hold that weight. If cornered, they can kick, and also they have a claw that can actually disembowel an animal. It's actually quite dangerous. Yeah, their height allows them to see far and to see stalking predators, so they have an advantage against most predators while in the long grass like this. This ostrich occurs from Kenya up north and goes down all the way to Tanzania, reaching Malawi. It's called the Maasai ostrich. From there, it is the southern ostrich. And they are making a comeback. There's some years that they were very threatened. We were losing them at a high rate, but they are coming back. The main enemies are, lion, number 1, leopard, hyena, jackal for the young ones. Godfrey, not to lie, I won't say a lot, but there is enough. You cannot drive without seeing an ostrich. So we have enough, we don't have a lot. And, more and more are being seen. Like here, I'm sure in the next coming months we'll have some young ones. Usually after mating, only about a week, they'll start laying eggs for, the females, usually on a bare ground, a very hidden spot, sometimes really hard to spot. Females up to around 5 of them will lay eggs in the same spot, but one takes over the duty. Once they hatch, more females might join in to help, but mostly it's the female and male that take care of the young ones. Very protective, especially the male. If a jackal approaches or a hyena, they will defend it with all their might and power. I have seen them chase a hyena away, so they can be very, very dangerous. I'm hoping that he's gonna do a mating dance, or maybe even mate, but looks like he's much more interested in, feeding at the moment. Hopefully he'll mate sometime today and we can share that with you. Well, I'm gonna stay here for a little bit longer. Hopefully he can do the mating dance. We can share that with you. So let's see what's happening somewhere else.
From the male ostrich who's trying to display and attract the female, here we have a male that is being chased away by the female. Now this lioness is not happy at all with this lion, split nose or Bob Marley, until she's seen him out of her sight, then she'll be happy to carry on with her activity and get back to the den. By the way he's staring at her means that, look at him staring away. He's watching over where the cubs are. And I tell you, this lioness is not going to tolerate that. She's going to keep on walking towards him and make sure that he's out of this place. Even though male lions demand respect, that sometimes can be not tolerated by the females, especially if they're not from their all. She wants him, so she's still growling at him. He's definitely sensed that there are cubs in there. Look at her teeth, she's nothing, and the cubs are very small. Look at her belly, she's already eaten as much as she could, and now she's approaching him. She's still approaching and not really happy with him. She's going to do all she can, fight him, bite him. Even though he looks stronger, bigger than her, she has to do all she can to make sure that he's out of here. That aggressive display has really shown that big male that he's not tolerated here. She also has to walk in caution because that lion can fight back also, but he seems like he's being submissive and walking away. That's a problem when lionesses swap their den. Sometimes they may swap the den to danger, and these intruders are the ones that we call danger because they'll not be happy with the cubs. They have to kill them because they want to wipe out that gene, and that will forcefully turn this lioness into estrus of about 3 to 4 weeks. By the look of it, she looks like there's a sister around here who's guarding the cubs. Sometimes lioness in their pride, they can synchronize their birth, and that really how hard will she descend for a meal? You know, by the look of it, she has her partner who is a sister, so it's not going to be very difficult for her to at least get a meal because they work in pair, and by how strong she is and experience, she'll definitely go after, so it's not really hard for her. Split nose is giving away, is giving up, walking away now. I'm going to watch and see if he's going to be back, or maybe if the lioness is going to keep on pursuing him off her den, as I take you over to another live location.
Our little male lion has sort of given up every day. He's waking up a little bit every now and then as well. Bird. is interesting. Bird. Just go behind him there. That's so awesome. But it's good to know. You look at the one.
Well, I'm in my plains here, and look at the view that I have. It's slightly overcast, but the sun is breaking through the clouds, so we're going to have a very sunny day later on, maybe. I'm not very sure. You can tell the grass is short here. Looks like the wildebeest did a very good job. My ostrich is still trying to impress the females. He hasn't done any dance, but I'm still hoping that, he can do one for us. He's right here in front of us, and hopefully, he's going to do a dance quite soon. The females are sort of walked away slightly to the left, and we cannot see them anymore. And I don't know if he's in shock or what, because it looks like he's looking around more now. I would say, he's much pinkier than yesterday, and looks maybe he's at the height of his season, eating plenty of grass, little twigs, leaves, even insects it will eat. Surprisingly, this is one of the only few birds, maybe the only one, that people can ride. Can you imagine? You just put your legs in between the wings and it runs. I understand it feels like, there's no balance because there's nothing to hold on. You cannot hold on to the neck, otherwise you will kill it. So you are at the mercy of, balancing. But it can run really fast, even with a human. I don't support it, but people do it. David Jumbo, there is a season where he comes and he stays with this color for almost a month or so, and during this time he will mate, every couple of hours with different females until, he thinks that he has mated enough. Then the colors slowly fade away. So it's only when he's in season. He doesn't mate and then it disappears. When he comes into breeding, he stays with that color until he thinks he has mated with enough females. And so it guarantees his offsprings to be sired, and also his, generation to continue. And then, the colors will disappear in about a month or so. So he stays for a very short time, but he doesn't mate and just the color disappears, no. The good thing about, even if the females have walked away, is that the height, his height, he sees very, very well, and he can spot them from a long way. And so he can walk towards them, and he can do this mating dance. And females are very impressed quite quickly. They present themselves to him, and he will mate with them. Maybe he's got, some more females in that direction that he's heading, because it's totally the opposite direction from where the females went. And so maybe he's heading towards, some new, girlfriends that he's got on that side. This is the Maasai ostrich, remember? In view, we have a topi that's walking from right to left. The topi is an antelope that migrates, but we have a very good number that's always found here in the Masai Mara. When we get close, I'll be able to show you the topi. Let me see if there's anything else. Well, it looks like he's going farther and farther away from us, and the only thing I can do right now is to head towards him, and maybe we can have a look at that topi. But the weather is very beautiful. The temperature is just super. So, let me continue towards him.
From the male ostrich to our male lion here, and it seems like he's been chased off. He's given up, but he's slowly staring at the lioness, who seems like not really wanting him closer to him. But then he has to be patient, and if this carries on, those lionesses might want to move theirs or swap the den, because there's danger here. So she has to protect the cubs by taking them to an area where the rest of her pride will be supportive of her, where they'll keep this lion at bay. So we saw in the recent week that he was trying to mate some of the lionesses within the pride, but they were not happy with him. They got aggressive. He got pushed off. Another male came in by the name of Olalashe, who pushed him off also. So he has at least to try as much as he can, and the only way that he can get that chance to mate with those lionesses is by doing what we call killing them, killing those cubs. But they are not friendly lioness when it comes to protecting their cubs. By staying concealed in the long grasses, he's showing that he is looking at them, but then that lioness is still staring. So this might take even a day or two as he tries to get closer to the den. So lionesses will swap their den after every 2 weeks, depending on how the den is, the size, and sometimes because of the scent. If the scent of the cubs stay there for a long while, then that might welcome intruders. And intruders in the likes of Bob Marley or Splitnose, who will get the scent and definitely go after the cubs. So because of that, the traces of that den have to be wiped out by moving or swapping the den to a different area. If it is the core of the pride area, then that will be very, very safe for the lionesses. But sometimes when they give birth, they have to split or go away from the rest of the pride because they don't want them closer to their cubs. And when they're about 6 weeks old or about 7 weeks old, the cubs are introduced to the rest of the pride. But since these cubs are still too young to be introduced to the rest of the pride, they have to be kept concealed in a den. I saw that lioness yesterday trailing some wildebeest, and by the look of her, I saw that she had protruding teeth, meaning that she was nursing. And I gathered that from a guide who was here, told me that he saw that lioness swapping den, carrying the cubs to where we saw the lioness eating. So it means that he was so much interested in getting closer. This is how male lion get to own up a pride. So if he gets here and he conquers by killing those cubs, that will trigger the lionesses to come into estrus after about 3 to 4 weeks. Then if he mates with them, then he's assured of paternity. He's assured of parenthood where the cubs are his. So those lionesses will have to keep him closer for the protection of the cubs. But since it's not yet happened, so they have to keep on pushing off. Nature lover, thank you so much for your question. Pride males will protect their territories, and as much as they can do that, they have to walk on their territory, patrolling, marking, scent marking. They roar, and if the intruders who are coming into those territories, they will definitely hear that the pride male is announcing his presence by the roar, and definitely they have to keep on patrolling those pride territories. And sometimes they even extend, overlap other lions' territory depending on the size and the number of those pride males. So yes, they do patrol and mark the territories. You can see the way he's staring to watch if the lioness is coming closer or maybe going back to the den. And sometimes, if that lioness is going to the den, he might walk slowly and try to sneak in. So that lioness has to be watchful over him to make sure that he doesn't get any closer. I'm going to stick around here, watch what this lion will do as I take you over to another live location.
The beautiful songful chirps of the chestnut-vented tit babbler. Mouthful for such a small bird, but a really nice full songful song from this bird this morning. It's also able to mimic, which can be quite tricky every now and then. So it really keeps a bird on his or her toes. Alright, wonderful bird that we've got singing over here. It's just nice to stop and appreciate the songful calls of it, yeah. And then Dave, can we get this tree over here, Dave? It's a very nice tree here just behind us. It looks a little strange, and that's because it is not with us. No longer with us. This is just the skeletal structure of a beautiful camel thorn, and this is typical of the Kalahari scene, especially if you go a bit further north and if you go into Namibia, you find the remnants of these trees standing still for a very, very, very long time. And it's a beautiful feature when it comes to photography and also just appreciating it. I don't know how true it is, but this is one of the very first spots that a leopard was actually seen on Tswalu, was in this very tree. So I've been told. Who knows how true that is. But why it's like this is that, so these trees have very extensive root structures to tap into the underground water, what we refer to as the tabletop, so where water is saturated a certain depth below the surface of the soil. And this would have been through a prolonged drought period where this even extensive root structure would not have been able to tap into water. And so for an extended period of time, the tree then dies, but then leaving behind this beautiful and magnificent feature to look at. And it still is utilized by a lot of animals, not only birds. There's a few woodpecker holes or nests here on this side of the branch. You would find reptiles seeking refuge in between the nooks and crannies, and insects, and it makes for a beautiful feature for a lot of inhabitants. And then if we look over here, when the tree was still alive, we can see all of this, especially this over here. You see that there, Dave? That is artwork in itself. So that would have been from boring insects that would have been living just under the bark when this tree was alive and actually feeding off the tree, leaving these beautiful elongated almost like marks out of the tree. Oh, how easy would it be for an animal to break this tree? Greg, still not very easy. There is some branches that are obviously old, but it's still a solid structure. Greg, this is one of the toughest woods. Can you guys hear that? It's hard. It's very hard. This is still a solid structure. This will still be here for 30, 40 years, if not more. But a really amazing feature and something that is utilized by a lot of animals. You'd find raptors resting throughout the day period in here, owls coming here at night time, but a really remarkable structure and something very nice to see. We're going to send you off to another location and we'll see you soon. You want to bring the car? Yeah,
it must have been quite a funny scene that you just watched with that breaking of the tree, or lack thereof. So when last you were with us at andBeyond Phinda, we were looking for a pride of lion, and unfortunately couldn't find any trucks coming out. Massive area in between our roads. So we decided to leave that section and head more into the western side of our reserve, where we have these beautiful open plains. It's a really good area for cheetah. And we came across this beautiful scene. Beautiful, beautiful scene. It's a tower of giraffe at the moment. And oh, look there, you just saw that one oxpecker land on the neck of that giraffe right there. And we've got another two coming off to our right. It's really beautiful. I think we counted about 5 giraffe earlier. I always love watching giraffe because they're always doing something interesting. So you can see this one has got 3 oxpeckers all over its body, 2 on the neck and another one that's flown down to the to the back leg there. And it is feeding beautifully on those little bushes. In fact, you can actually see how it's stripping almost all the leaves off of that one small bush. I've got very prehensile lips and a very prehensile tongue, which enables them to really scoop up all those leaves and, you know, not get affected too much by any thorns. They've also got a very thick sort of saliva, almost more like a gel-like saliva, which protects them from thorns as they're feeding. And what's lovely to see is you can actually see how it's spreading its legs wide to get a bit lower and reach really to the bottom of these small bushes. We always picture giraffe using those long necks to reach the very top of the trees, but in fact, a lot of these small bushes actually have far more nutrients than the trees around, because their main defense is producing thorns, so they just got less tannins, making them less bitter, much more palatable for a giraffe like this to feed on. So you often actually see, especially in these open areas, the giraffe leaning down and feeding as opposed to reaching up. Now what's probably happened is that bush as a defense mechanism has started to produce tannins, which makes it a lot more bitter, and the giraffe has now decided to walk away, finding a bush a bit further away that isn't producing tannins at the moment. Beautiful. So Wagon Tail Farm was asked a really interesting question about how well a giraffe can defend itself. And if we're having a look at this giraffe now, there's a few sort of weapons at its disposal. Now, the main thing is you see those back legs. They have got massive muscles, and their first defense actually is to kick a predator. So their main threat is probably lion. Well, not probably lion. Their main threat is lion. The younger giraffe have to worry about leopard as well, but generally the older giraffe, the only thing that they really need to worry about are prides of lion. And the prides of lion will try and jump on their backs and then use their weight to tip the giraffe over. If a giraffe's off his legs, then unfortunately there's not a good chance of it surviving. So it's really got to stay upright. And the main defense is those back legs. You know, they have a very powerful kick, and that's actually often what saves them, is they'll manage to kick a lion or whatever it is, and they can kick so hard they can actually crush a lion's skull. So it's quite a risky animal for a lion to hunt. Then the other defenses are their necks and those ossicones, those little horns on the top of their heads. But that is more used in defending themselves against other giraffe. You know, the males, they're not territorial giraffe. Giraffe actually have home ranges. But when the males will fight is over a female and estrus. So what will happen is when a female goes into estrus and two males feel that they're equally matched, they actually then have quite a vicious fight where they use that neck and those ossicones to try and hit each other, you know, whether it be on the belly, on the legs, anywhere really they can land a strong blow. And it might not sound incredibly damaging, but it can be a very ferocious and vicious fight, and often giraffe end up dying as a result of it if it's a proper fight. You know, most of what we see is a thing called necking, which is a beautiful display of two giraffe, and that's not a proper fight. That's when they are merely practice fighting and almost checking their flexibility of their necks, and how that sort of, where if they were to fight, where their necks would land in relation to other giraffe. Bob, that is a really interesting question, and I'm just having a look now. If we zoom in on those joints by the knees, you can see that they look very swollen, and it's actually just the bone structure. When you look at a giraffe carcass, they've got a ball and socket joint where those joints meat, and the bones are much thicker at those points, making them a lot bigger and more wide. So that's why they look so swollen. It's just two bones joined together in a ball and socket joint, and at that joint the bones are much wider than they are further down. So it's just the joint itself that makes it look a bit more swollen. You can see these giraffe are having a lovely time feeding all over here. You can see those two oxpeckers are still on the backs of those giraffe. 3 oxpeckers, in fact. And it's quite beneficial for them to have those oxpeckers at the majority of the time, because the oxpeckers do keep ticks off of them. But they can be parasitic as well, keeping certain wounds open and passing on different diseases. So we're gonna carry on and see what we can find in those open plains and leave these giraffe to carry on feeding.
Okay, still here in the river with our 3 lions. They're starting to settle down. Found a little patch of shade here. Trees up the bank. And the one at the back there, that's the young female. She does actually wake up every now and then, so there's baboons crossing the river still. There's a different section here, so I think it's a different troop of baboons, but every now and then, just alarm holding line. The female here, she lifts up, has a look around. She's actually being very, very alert. Not too much of a surprise. She does have these 2 young cubs, and they are quite exposed here in the river. She'll be a lot more alert. Say that older female that we saw 2 days ago, afternoon safari, we saw her. She was very calm. She's just the whole time. But this one, these 2 young cubs, still quite dangerous. Many things will kill them. So she's a lot more alert. That's why she's around and just up her head every now and then. It's crazy how they camouflage in there. But it does look like they're going to rest. We bite out.
Welcome back to the Mara, where we have Bob Marley, who is hiding in the grass while still staring at the direction where the lioness went to. I'm sure he's going to stick around here, hoping that he'll get closer to those cubs. But those lionesses are doing a very good job to protect their very own cubs. He looks a little bit sleepy, tired. He's trying to sniff the air, pick up some scent. So this area, until the lioness swaps their cubs, it's going to be a point of interest for him. Because one, he knows for him to get access to be a pride member or pride male of this entire pride, he has to at least get that respect from the lionesses. And in one way or another, he has to get too close to the cubs, and if at all he's going to get there, he's going to kill the cubs so that he can mate with those lionesses, and after that they're going to submit to him. That is how lions seek authority. That is how they become pride males when they walk over into a territory, a new territory. He's been wandering off alone long distance. I've seen him by the Owino Pride area. I've seen him in the Mogoro Pride area. I've seen him in the River Pride area or Lolo Pride area. So he's not yet welcome. So because he's going to hang around here, I'm not sure if that will ever happen, but we just have to see and wait. Because he seems so much determined. He's got some scar marks on his back, so it means that he went over to a pride area and got fought off. So, a very tough life for him. He's raising his head, seems like he wants to get closer. I'm not quite sure what he wants to do. Maybe the lioness is walking about. So thank you so much. Okay, he's on the move. He's getting closer to where the lionesses were. So lions can go up to about 26. It depends with how these strong males form a coalition. If they're in a coalition, I've seen lions getting to even 18. But I would say sometimes the lionesses live longer than these males. So for example, he's by himself. I'm just going to change position. He's by himself, and by the look of it, if he doesn't get to have his own territory, he's going to be scavenging and taking advantage of other pride areas. So that is what sometimes limits the age of the males, because they end up dying not from old age, but if they get in a fight with other lions. So that is what limits them. But I've seen lionesses go longer than them. I've seen lion brothers by the name of the Musketeers who have been in a coalition for longer. They're still old. We have one old lion, one famous lion in the Mara called Scarface. I believe Scarface is almost 15, but still going strong. So it depends on the pride size. It depends with the coalition. That is what will limit the age of a lion. He's showing concern getting back to where he was chased from. So let's see where he's heading and if the lioness will push him off or not. Because he can't see them, so he's hoping to get closer to the den. He's scanning around to watch over. You saw how that lioness was not happy with him, so he is also walking in caution. Very stealthy walk. He doesn't want his presence announced. And because lionesses sometimes leave the dens for about even 24 hours, depending on how they want to go and find food or where availability of prey is, they leave their cubs unattended. But because that lioness had something to eat, she's probably going to nurse the cubs. So I'll also try to follow again, see if he's getting closer. He's walking slowly and he's getting closer to the den. So I'm just going to change position. As I try to change position for a better angle, let me send you over to another live location.
Beautiful. So we came to this very place called Phinda. In that tree there's a lot of activity for the Djuma Baboon. We're trying to see if we can get to focus on one of one. It's right there, sitting there. So we just saw them as we drive past the road here, and it looks like they're trying to climb that tree. Look like they're going to feed on jackal berry fruit. With this time of year, jackal berry fruit, all available still for this type of animal. And then they're very skittish, so we keep a far distance as much as we can, because and this is so beautiful. Looks like there's no chance the bird can go in there. A lot of them just can't get enough of them, because some of them are in that green inside the thicket there. So, but we only see those one coming down or going up every now and then. So they are beautiful animals. Baboon, they don't have, this is what Djuma Baboon, and they're the only species in this area we get. Otherwise, we have monkeys as well, but they won't cooperate. Looks like this one has got its baby right there. See the baby. She's trying to make sure the baby's safe as the rest of them trying to jump up into that tree there for the fruits. So the fruits ripe, and they eat ripe fruits most. And when there's this marula season, which is going to be anything from February, March, it's going to be a lot of a competition between a lot of the species those eat on these fruits, marula fruits. With the elephants as well involved, kudus involved as well, monkeys involved, baboon this type also involved. So they remain in a group. Good morning, Helen. You want to know if these monkey and baboon do fight? Of course, yes, they don't get along. Wherever it's a baboon, then there's no monkey around. Or they have to keep each other distances if they're nearby. So, but a monkey is so small, they always have to make a route or way for this big animal to pass, always. Baboon, they're one of the animals that have very strong teeth, or more than leopard can. So their bite is very strong, and they use these teeth for their own defense. If they ever attack, a lot of time, leopard don't really like these guys, because they cooperate. And every time they move in a group, whenever there's a leopard around here, it's got to have a technique of hunting this animal, because otherwise they were just gonna go all of them towards that leopard, and then it's going to be a really serious fight sometimes. Leopard will get away with serious injured if he's going to allow or she's going to allow this animal to get close to that leopard. So they are very good in that, defend themselves. But when they're up in the trees, they kind of like, they have a way of playing, but they shaking branches. But when they do that, they don't really check how strong is the branches. And I see a couple of times, and they do that while lions is on the ground. All they do is that, oh, you can't get up and get me. So, and they're trying to kind of dance, but shaking the branches until it's broken off. And they all cry until they hit the ground. All lions on top of them, feed on them. So they playful animals. Since we get here, you've seen a lot of them. I mean, not a lot of them, but already one that was running up and down, just like that one. We're just focusing on it now. So they will change sport quite often. So you're looking at the monkey, you're looking at the baboon, even the dwarf mongoose and elephants. Those are the one animals that give you a lot of activity. Cassie, you want to know if they're in intelligence just like an elephant. You see, these baboon is pretty much, they are primate. So which means for them to able to behave as little bit as human when it comes to feed is only difference, because then they eat also a little bit of meat. But how do they take care of each other? They fight a lot. When you see them fight, the young one take over the meal when they feed on the nutritious food. And then all the young ones are not allowed to get very good food in them. They're just all going to push off. So it's slightly different behavior there, where the elephants, all the young ones will squeal for the mother to provide some nutritious. Push over the tree, the young one will sneak underneath the mother, trying to eat at the same time. Or mother will leave anything behind for the young one to be able to manage to eat. So, but of course, you're right, you can compare them to an elephant, the way they do. But when it comes to the fight, this is when there's sometimes a whole lot of young male, what they do, it comes in a way where there's a dominant male. And once he getting tired or he get old, the teenager male, they all group up and they're trying to push him off. It happens also to monkey. You find a single bull monkey or single male baboon, you all find he's lost or somehow something happened. But not. It's so that, it's a situation of when he comes in older, you get to push it out. The new dominant male will take over. And then it's older. Sometimes the older one will give a lot of problem to the weakest. And that's why sometimes when you see that fight take place, when you check, maybe it's not all about food, it's all about behavior. They don't really talk like we do, as we understand they're primate, but their body language, that's the behavior of communication it takes place from, where some of their behavior means something to them while they're playing. All of a sudden you see one jump over to another one, and then the fight begins. You wonder why. It's just because there is a kind of communication agreement. Good morning, Marley. In this specific group of this a troop we're looking at right now, I'm 100% not sure which one is the leader, but if they would be in the open area, you could really tell which one is the leader. Mainly the leader is got to be the biggest one in the group. There I've seen one of the female with the baby, but I've seen a lot of movement, which could be more than, or maybe 10 or 15 in that group. But, you know, if that the case, then they all come out, then we're able to identify which one is the leader or the dominant most. So they are diurnal. They move during the day. They don't move at night. And all they do, they find very combined thicket tree, sleep on, so that there is no conflict in terms of getting hunted at night. So I'm going to probably leave them here and then take you to another safari line.
Well, I have some very peaceful looking zebra for the moment, and they seem to be in a very precarious spot because there is bushes all over. So these could be the tough crew or the risk takers. You know, I don't know why they are here all by themselves, but I'll leave that to them. Maybe they feel it's safe here. This is our one and only Bachel's zebra. I believe Bachel's was one of the French presidents a while back, and this, animal was given to him as a gift, something like that, and so it was named after him, but we call it common zebra here. And those three there looks like they're very happy. All of them seem to be carrying a young one. Zebras carry their young for up to 1 year, and as soon as they give birth, it takes a very short time, a couple of months, and then they come back into season. It's the only animal I know that has got that behavior, that it will actually come into estrus while it's still suckling, and that's why here in the plains sometimes you'll be puzzled to find two foals sometimes feeding. One would be older and the other one is younger. They'll still be feeding. Yes, and this looks like the resident ones. They're quite far from everybody. Didier, Jumbo, are these animals not disturbed by my vehicle? They are not. Believe me, we have a camera that's got a very, nice zoom. See how far they are? That's how far they are. They're almost, I would give it 900 feet, quite a long way. And so I haven't broken that safety distance, so they feel safe. If I break it, they'll always get away from me as much as possible. But here I've parked in a distance where if they come towards me, then it feels they are safer. So, they don't feel threatened by me in any way. And also, for quite a number of years, they have seen vehicles. There are designated tracks that we follow, and we only stop when we feel like, it's a nice distance. So they are not disturbed by us at all. Of course, if I got out of the vehicle and they see human, somebody standing on two legs, the reaction would be very, very different. But seeing a vehicle and me not breaking the solid object standing and coming out, then they see me as part of the vehicle. The only thing they hear is a sound or, my voice, and that doesn't disturb them. They know this is an animal, it's on four wheels, and it never, kills them or attacks them. So, that's how it is. But always you'll see they'll stop and show some, interest, very alert, that your young stallion looking at us, eyes pointed towards me, ears pointed towards me. It's telling me, I see you. I'm not happy. And if it's not happy, it can always get away. Remember, this is a very fast animal and doesn't go down easy. Even with lions, they can kick. Only if they're caught by surprises when they go down easy, but they do kick, they do fight and bite. Big cat lover, Jumbo, thank you for your observation. They differ from one to the other, and it is just a natural way that they come towards, the legs and the stomach. They are different towards the rib cage. They are different, so it is normal the way they are. And on the forehead, you can see that pattern. Looks like somebody has drawn, but from one zebra to the other, it's very different, and it's normal for them to be in that pattern. There is no particular explanation, actually, I can give you for that, but that is the way they are, they're vertical and horizontal on the legs, vertical, towards the middle, and it's just natural. Yeah, it's looking at two zebras that have come out of the bush. That's what it's looking at. They might come into view. This is an animal with very good senses, hearing, sight, and smell. It can see very, very, very well for almost, half a kilometer. So it's rarely hunted unless it's really been ambushed, or, they are crossing a river, or it's in long grass. That's when they hunt it. This is a stallion. There's 3 more coming out from the left. You'll see them. Such a beautiful animal. Yeah, there they are. They're coming out of the bush. I don't know what they went to do in the bush, but there they are. Yes, we're talking about you. Hello. You can see that all 3, the shape of the stripes on the legs are vertical, horizontal, vertical, and then the one towards the middle are horizontal, but they're all different. Look at them. They're not the same at all. Very different. None is the same. Well, let me try and move on. See. Key Lion Jumbo, can you ride a zebra? Yes, I wish we could ride a zebra, but nobody ever tries anymore, because I think we gave up on them, and it was a very good idea, because this is an animal, it's believed, that has got a very weak back, cannot carry load. I stand to be proved about that, because scientifically it hasn't been proven. But also it does kick if it feels like there is weight on its back, so it's got its wild mentality. It could be very dangerous trying to ride it. You might need to wear a helmet, a teeth guard, and even some padding, because when you come off it might kick you. Okay, I'm gonna leave you to enjoy that view. Let's take you to another safari vehicle.
From a striped donkeys to a lion who is still in pursuit of that lioness, but seems like he's stopped to wait. He's concentrating because the vultures have started streaming into where that lioness was eating up an antelope. So he's going to hang around here, and maybe he tries to get closer, but it seems like the lioness has gone into the bushes where her den is. I wonder how long he's going to wait here for, but that is another story for another day, because it seems like the other lioness who was eating went back to
the den, and there was another lioness sitting there. So it seems like there's two, not one. And that can form a very strong source of security if he tries to get closer. Look at him staring at the vultures. So these lions, because they become, I can say right now, he's nomadic because he doesn't have his own territory. So what he does, for him to get meals sometimes, he can be opportunistic. By watching over the vultures, they will lead him to where there's a carcass and chase them off. And if there may be a kill where lions from other prides are enjoying, if there's small lions or maybe one lioness, he can overpower them and take over the meal. So this is how he survives. One, and also he can also hunt on his own. He's big, he's strong, seems like a healthy one, so he's been getting enough food. But now he's ready to take over, ready to get closer to those cubs, but the lionesses are not happy with him. So his chances are still 50-50. But if that happens, but I'm crossing my fingers for the cubs not to be killed, but it depends because it's nature taking its course. Because for lions to own up territories, they have to be in such kind of manner where they'll have to kill cubs and to take over. Back to where the lion was eating, you can see there's some scraps that are left over. The vultures have streamed in. They've begun eating. There's a bit of scuffle there. More coming in and more. The reason why we call them the cleanup squad, look at just what happened. After the leftovers have been left by the lion, they've come in. Now time for them to clean and white out whatever is there. So they help control flies, and if maybe that carcass was there because of death caused by a disease, then they'll be able to help by cleaning that out. African whiteback vultures and the Ruppel's griffon vultures coming in. So it's been a good activity where we've seen the lioness chasing that male lion. You can see the vultures coming in. So I'm going to move on to another place because it seems like it's become quiet. No activity at the moment. So I'll take you over to another live location.
Thanks, Kim. It's always beautiful. Now we find looks like there's the female here. I'm not sure. Probably the one of the cub of Shidulu or no Sibui. Sorry, that's a Sibui. Now confused, but I mustn't really get confused with such a beautiful cat like this. So yeah, you can see a Sibui. We got both here, mother and the young one. The mother lying down right, slightly on front of the young one, but very difficult to able to see her right now. And then like gotta be a little bit of a movement here because every time when they're around together, mother and the young one, and it's gonna be unless if they decided to lie, because now we're looking at them from the right top and they're in the middle of the drainage line, beautiful shed in there. If they decided not to do a lot of movement, it means that it won't gonna be much visual of them. We're very lucky enough. We're just watching these Chakma baboon And then somehow when we are off air, pick up on the radio that there's a leopard crossing up north from Little Gari. And it's like, oh, I'm going to turn around. And the guy's brave enough to direct me exactly where she crossed. So there's only 2 vehicles here. Myself and one of the Djuma vehicle as well. We still have enough of time to be able to enjoy them. We've probably been followed all morning, according to the guys up in the south. And they didn't discover anything that eaten recently. So, which means they might settle down for now and probably going to go hunt again. Well, leopard's capable of moving and lying down, but now it's going to get very hot. So maybe this is going to be a spot where they're chosen already to settle down for a whole warm of a day. Well, Sibui, she came from the south, and looks like the baby's going to head straight to her. As I was saying, it's going to be a lot of movement otherwise. That's what is happening right now. So the baby always like to be played with the mother. This is a technique of getting the little one get used to the mother, and they groom one another. The young one will be groomed. Good morning, Tommy. I think I had well there, the name, and the question you want to know if the leopard ever get birth to 2 cubs which are the same gender. Yes, that's pretty much happening, and even on the lines, it happens sometimes. And then this female we know of, Akarula, she gave birth to 2 cubs which were females, and it was a Tandi, I think, and the other one is sister, if I remember correctly. That was, if I remember, I'll tell you now. But she went disappeared, and they grew up together that way, and they went separate because as they grow up, there's a way of separate. They don't stick together for longer, especially when the mother should just reject them. They come independently. They're all from themselves, separate from one another. Looks like we're going to lose them for now as they're going into the drainage line system where, we'll see, I'm just trying to go around, see if I can get another visual again. Yes, they do give birth to 2 cubs, same gender sometimes, or different gender. I'm going to move around and take you to another safari live while we're trying to reposition here.
Sounds like a beautiful sighting that you've just been watching. Leopard with cubs are always incredibly special. So we've been driving through these open areas, and we have come across a rather special sighting ourselves. You can see we found some white rhino, but what's really interesting about this setting is that there's actually a group of 6 of them, which is wonderful. It's called a crash of rhino. You don't always see rhinos in large groups. And in fact, I don't know if we can zoom in between the legs, but I've been noticing at least 4 of them are males, and some of them fully grown males, which is really quite an unusual grouping to have of rhino. Often when you see groups of rhino together, it will be females, because the females aren't territorial. The white rhinos, male white rhinos, are territorial, so generally they're not too happy to hang around other males. Only thing I can think of is perhaps these rhinos aren't territorial themselves. Maybe they are either too old or too young to hold territories. Or perhaps even there is the territorial male amongst them, but they have shown submissive behavior towards him, indicating to that male that they are actually only here to feed and drink, not to try and mate with any of the females in the area, and he then would have allowed them to come in. I'm actually just going to see them slowly walking off to our right. Beautiful, beautiful rhino. You can see those little notching patterns on the ear, those little tiny cuts in the ear, those small triangular marks. Those aren't actually natural. Those are how we identify each individual rhino. You see the second one coming in also has its own unique notching pattern. And there are 4 places in the ear that we can cut, and each place has its own unique number. And when you add the numbers together, you get the number of the rhino. So it could be a rhino 241, for example. Yeah. So, are Lara Moore? That is a good question. And yes, white rhinos are actually heavier than hippo. So white rhinos will range between 2 to 3 tons. So we're looking at big bulls like this, probably close to 3 tons. And a hippo, I think, is about 1.6 tons, if I remember correctly, ranging up to about 2 tons. So they are a bit heavier. Black rhino are more or less the same weight as a hippo. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to reverse and get a better view of these rhino. And then I just heard one of the rangers call in a sighting of cheetah. So I think we're going to try and get there. He actually heard impala alarm calling while we were sitting here. And he went to go and investigate, and he's just called in and he's found these cheetah. So I actually think... Yeah, so I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to try and get one last view of these rhino, and then we're going to go and look for some cheetah.
Well, another spot here with one of our primates, the olive baboon, doing what they do best very early in the morning. Social grooming is part and parcel of elephant, behavior in the morning, socializing. They normally groom each other, getting rid of pests. There's a tiny little one to the right there. You see it? Quite small one. Very new. It's actually almost black. Yeah, with a pink nose and its back. Trying. Maybe it's taking its first few steps of climbing. Look at that. How beautiful is that? Yeah. They have a gestation period of 5 months, and they are born mostly after the rains when there's plenty to eat. These olive baboons, they're very, very protective and also very smart. Amazing eyesight. They can hide, they can hunt. Looks like mommy was waiting for it to come, and now it has climbed up. It's typical for them to cling on the back. That's how they develop their muscles, so that they can be able to climb speed at very high speeds during an attack. Their eyesight is very, very good. I'm quite a distance away, but I'm sure they can really, really see me. These guys are also very, very dangerous. If cornered, they will attack even humans. They have canines about 2 centimeters long each, and 4 of them, and so they can use them, and also very strong. They do chase people if you try and corner them. They go in troops of up to 60 here in the Mara, and they mainly feed on 90% leaves, but little grubs of frogs, birds, bird eggs, grasshoppers, crickets are very, very, very welcome. They live up to 30 years in the wild. Of course, they can live longer in captivity, and they move around in a territory that they have created over time of about maybe 2 square kilometers, 3 square kilometers. They have their favorite trees that they move around from one to the other. They might roost in one for a few days, then go to the next, and in another day, depending on how close the food is. Sorry, I'm not passing on the elephants, but there they are. They are gate crashing. They want to be part of the discussion. Looks like they were down by the river, drinking water, and now they're coming out. It's a pity they've left, they're in the bushes. We cannot see them really well. And although they look like they could be very vulnerable, the baboons being on the ground, there's some sentries, there's some of them that are very high on certain trees, and they're acting as lookouts. And it just takes one back, and everybody runs to the closest tree. And they change duties. When one is tired, comes down, the other one goes up and takes duty to keep watch. And that's why they can be very, very comfortable being on the ground. Also, the impala, you can see how they are relaxed, because they know the baboons will see anything approaching, so they don't have to worry. Looks like that guy is really feeling, well looked after. Fully grown males can weigh up to 40 kilos, so they can be very, very bulky and heavy, and also can run really, really fast. Yeah, so it's an animal that you don't want to corner. Olive baboon there. Look at that, he's putting his one hand up, to allow the female to access maybe a position. It's another beautiful setting that I have here, and the baboon is really, lift your hand up. I need to pick up that's one that's under your armpit. That happens. That's a beautiful picture over there. Elephants, baboon, impala. What else can you ask for? We have no shortage of baboons in the Mara. They are very, very shy. You can never get close to them. In every about 5 square kilometers, there is a troop. They're always there. Is it your turn? Let me have a look. Glenn, Jumbo, are these baboons bigger than Chatma baboon? I doubt it. I think the Chatma have got a little bit longer limbs, and they have, less hair. That is the only difference. But behavior-wise, weight-wise, territorial-wise, how they cover, the territory, gestation, and lifespan, everything else is the same. I would only say, or maybe I've seen them with longer limbs because they had less hair, but the weight is the same. I would say there's no difference. It's only that Chatma is found down in southern Africa, and we have yellow baboon and olive baboon here in Kenya. You can see how he's doing it so well by covering every little inch of the body. See that? And he does it very fast, like a professional hairdresser. See, that is all the way to the legs now. Well, he's a very good guy, that, hairdresser, that guy. See how fast he's done that. Didn't take even, a minute. And it actually looks like he's very good at it. Now, take a look, make sure there's no danger. Then continue. Every time he picks up one, he has to bite it, make sure he's killed it. Yeah, he's very good at it. Okay, your turn. Let me check your back. Yeah. I think they're going to do that for the next couple of minutes. Looks like they're really loving it, and they're doing it so well. Yeah. See, I don't think, there'll be a lice or a mite left after, they've been there for half an hour. Yeah, our elephants are approaching casually. Looks like they're very heavy from drinking too much water in the river. That is a beautiful setting we have there. Looks like that baboon is really loving it. He's very relaxed. I like how he lifts his hand up. Well, I think, that might go on for a little bit. I don't know if the elephants are going to come a little bit faster. Let me give them another 1 minute and see what's happening. But remember to talk to us. #WildEarth. Questions and comments are really, really welcome. You can also watch, us on YouTube live stream, and tell a friend to tell a friend, that this is live. It's not recorded. Yes, it's so beautiful. I'm really loving this. I hope you're doing the same. Well, I'm gonna stick here for another 1 minute, see what's happening. While I do that, we're gonna take you to another live location.
Beautiful. We got this female leopard here. Just gonna she's gonna come right in front of our vehicle. She's now highly mobile, and she had 2 cubs here, which is very much interesting. And to see both of them, looks like a male and a female, these cubs. And haven't coming out yet. They're probably gonna follow her as well. There she come out. Looks like she's a good mother here. Look at all the cubs. And it looks like to me they're all gonna make it, I think. I'm not sure if she now decided to leave them in this area as she continue for a hunt. Because I understand there's the only time she leave them, this is when she's interested on going for a hunt, and then they will be left behind in specific area where she know for sure when she have to go back to look for them, they will be there. So I'm gonna switch forward, so see if we can get another visual, because it's so beautiful. I mean, we just saw both cubs out there just for a short time. Hopefully we're going to do the same if she don't decide to leave them. I'm going to take you to another live safari while we're trying to reposition. Right, sorry about that. So yeah, we're now looks like it's one of the young female in these 2 cubs we have seen this morning in this area. Both hair cubs. And what I see there, I notice the difference between, looks like the male, slightly bigger, almost size of the mother, while we're looking at the young female. They're all born at the very same time. So they're twin, brother and sister here. But the size-wise, cannot be the same. So I'm just crossing my finger that the brother came right there. And able to notice the difference. And looks like she's a lot pale, or they're all, both of them pale, so to speak. because they're so young still. But probably they will change slightly browny kind of color. But a lot of time, underneath of them, they show a lot of white because there is no problem. Otherwise, the whole body, it's got to be well camouflaged. Blending the spots there, but then the color of animal itself mixed with golden, a little bit of a color in there. It's dark brown slightly. This little one trying to look around here, but the mother already gone. So we're just gonna see if this is the way she leave them here, or if they're gonna follow her, then it's a sign that Good morning, welcome to the show. Did you want to know what's the difference between the jaguar and the leopard? So, here she goes. And then the leopard, this very much leopard we're looking at, Panthera pater, it's, a lot of time jaguar, they're in a very wet, they're always in touch with water all the time. We're going to move forward as we talk to relocate them. And the jaguar, you find them in very much wet, and this leopard in the savannah, and also small compared to jaguar, so it's different. Spot pattern as well. I'm going to link you to another safari live while we're trying to reposition here, relocate them.
Good luck there, that side, Andrew. We are still on the search for this cheetah and cubs. It seems like it's a bit of a challenge this morning with the high activity around the watering hole, and we thought we'd just appreciate this little guy trying to evade and escape the wind. The wind is still very chilly at this side of the world, and you can see from this little southern ground squirrel that it's trying to minimize on how much heat it is losing. So sitting in that depression, it's not really being fully exposed to the wind, but yet it's still able to warm up by laying in that little hole. But you can see it's cold. He doesn't want to move. So this is once. The rest of the colony should still be down. Obviously don't want to wake up. But it is constantly blowing here at the moment. And the wind factor, or the wind chill, is quite an abrasive thing. If you have low temperatures, that wind would drop the temperature even lower, and it's stealing body heat away from you. So animals really need to be careful, especially small animals where they do experience heat loss a lot more than larger animals. Obviously their surface area, so in comparison to like an elephant or a buffalo, it's not losing as much heat as a little animal like this is. So he has to burn quite a lot of fuel to keep him warm. So he has to be very clever in the early parts of the morning. But he has not moved. It's just changed position. And we're busy looking for these tracks. So we're busy making a big loop around the pan that we were at a bit earlier. And we are trying to pick up on where this mother and cubs have exited. As I said, it is a bit of a challenge this morning. It's like they're making things a little harder for me, but I enjoy a challenge. I really, really do. Alrighty, let's carry on here. Let's leave that little ground squirrel to do his thing. Let's carry on a little bit further south and see if we can pick up these tracks. And what we're using is they do have little ears, Elizabeth. They actually look like they have very cute little ears. And what we're going to be doing here now is just using the road as a boundary line to see where these animals exit. Oh, it's a snake track. Oh, that's a snake track. And that's a fresh snake track. Fresh snake track. Look here. Can you see this here, Dave? Fresh snake tracks. Look at that there. More than likely it came out from the bush. You can see at the angle that the soil was pushed back, it was more than likely just laying here and basking in the sun. So this animal is not far not far at all. It came from that bush over there, laid over here, did a little bit of basking. Let's see where the track goes here quickly. Here it goes there. There. Oh, if we can find another snake. Here it goes here. Oh, there's two of them. One track, two track. And obviously how the soil is pushed, it's showing us direction. So with the snake moving, it's basically doing this with its body. And you can see from how the soil is pushed what direction it's going. So there's actually two moving off over here. They shouldn't be too far. So I think we're going to follow up on these guys and see if we can find them. Maybe we'll divert from the cheetah quickly and see if we can find a sneaky snake. So now how far I can go with this over here. But here they go, here they go. And obviously now the angle of the sun makes it really nice for me to see where the track goes. There's the other track there. Oh, oh. A lot of activity here. Leona, great question. Yes, we can. So depending on the species of the snake, they move in a specific manner. So some snakes move in a what they call sidewinding motion. Snakes that are adapted to sandy environments, much sandier, looser sand than this. We're talking about sand that's in Namibia or in the Sahara. We're talking about very loose sand. So its movements are adapted to basically minimize on contact, but then move across the surface very quickly. Cobras, they move where they push the sediment from side parts of their body as they move, and you can see the thickness and as well as length that is typical of cobra. If it is a big snake like a python, African rock python, which is one of our largest snakes, you would see the broad body plan, and basically what it does is it squashes its body up, pushes its head forward, and then brings up the rest of the body. So you'll see this almost like concertina type motion. And then our puff adder, he's a bit slow, so he uses his tummy. So his tummy will basically like creep along the ground, giving us a very defined, very straight movement of the animal's body. But this almost like just the sides of the body touching, this is typical of cobra. And once again, two of them going. More than likely male, following a female track over here. But you could see, Dave, I don't know if you can see this over here. It is a bit low. Can you see this over here? Not so much. Yeah. So it actually looks like where they were sitting, there's quite a lot of tracks over here. It more than likely, this was the meeting spot of these two snakes. There's a lot of holes here. So they've more than likely found each other, if it is a male and female, and they've gone underground to go have dinner, say hello to each other. Yeah, so a lot of activity over here. So we're going to see quickly where these tracks go. Here they go over here. Ooh. Spooked myself. Yes, and down the hole. Okay. Okay, A for effort. They've gone down the hole, so we'll leave them. Oh, my word, here's another track. There's just snakes everywhere at the moment. Like we've been seeing, it is mating season for cobras, so they are really, really busy. We're going to send you off and we'll see you now.
Welcome. Yes, we're back here. One of the babies just disappeared into the wood, and it's actually a nice covered area for the young one to hide in this area here. Let's if I try to get around, see if we get another glimpse again of her. The brother this time is not around, so it's probably because of maybe it's all about hunting. So let me just try. If I can move around. Oh, it's going to come. Let's be patient enough here, because it's going to come back maybe to the open. Let's just hop that. It does that, because sometimes when they're trying to find their own shadow, when the mother's not around, it's all about safety for them while the mother's gone. So I'm just crossing my finger that it will come out for us. Also, if it doesn't come out, it's It's all about how they've been told. For safety in the point of view, it counts so much for the cubs, especially when the mother's not there. And so I'm trying to get another link. Have a look here. We'll take you now to another safari live again. Hope we stick to this cat for much longer.
Welcome back to the Mara. As Andrew is trying to reposition for his leopard, I am also trying to find a leopard here. So these trees, the balanites or the desert date, sometimes they harbor leopards. So as I'm driving on, I'm trying to look for signs of leopard trace. Sometimes when you're driving, you only look for the hanging tail, or if maybe there's a carcass, you'll know that there's a leopard around. But it seems that I've looked in almost every tree here. Very short grass plains, evident that the wildebeest had crossed over. And that some of them are on the edge of the Ololo escarpment, heading over to Tanzania. But some are to my left. Yesterday I saw some of them across the river while there's a big herd concentrating around that region. So another thing that I'll be looking for, another animal, is the cheetah, because of this kind of short grass can also harbor cheetahs. So I'm also trying to look carefully not to miss anything. But who knows how many leopards, how many cheetahs, and even lions have passed because of how they blend in with this grass. It's starting to warm up, so I'm sure the cat activity can be a little bit low, especially in the lions. We've seen a very nice activity today when the lioness was chasing that black main lion. His name is Bob Marley. So I might take a left turn. Take a left turn to see if I can find. So I'm trying to see if I can get another good angle, another good view of these balanite trees. But if not, I'm going towards the swamp, where it will be a high run of activity right now because elephants are starting to walk towards the swamp and other plains game. So I hope I'll be lucky with my finding as I take you over to another live location.
Thank you very much. Sorry, we now find, I think, it's at least better position. Can't be better enough, like more than this. Where she's brave enough now to show her face again back to us. And we're able to sneak our camera through, able to see its beautiful rise of this unique, beautiful animal, the leopard is. And I was trying to explain where the mother came from, south, which most in Mala Mala. That's where she probably grew up from. Not sure where the mother is, but and she came into the area here the first time we saw her. We're not sure, heard of Sbui, and then she went back south again to Mala Mala. She came back in. One day I was able to meet her, and she's an intelligent female, beautiful. This is how she raised her cubs quite often. I'm able to spend enough time with her since the traversing issue was not great enough for us to be able to spend time wherever she's seen.
No, I hope to stay.
It is. Look at this, especially the ears. It's beautiful. I agree with that, viewers. 100% agree with you. So looking at the Panthera parda, which is the leopard is right now, as you can see, even it's only a cub, but it's a leopard. And the mother have moved off, probably trying to get something for them to eat. I tried to mention earlier that sometimes when the mother leaves them, they also separate from one another. And then this is something to do with how they get used to be isolated so young. When they grow up, be independent. And it's quite easy for them to able to separate from one another as a brother and sister. And then this is anything from maybe a year and a half, 2 years old, and the mother will probably gonna no longer need them close to her. She already tolerates and looking forward to conceive again. It's quite beautiful to see a baby leopard. There's some area where you have leopards, and when you have a lot of competition between these cats, where the male leopards maybe find their many in the area trying to fight over the females. Big cat lover. True, you're right. You know, they were designed with this massive, paley, tawny kind of a color of eyes they got. And that it builds such a unique beauty about this cat. You look at the cheetah's eyes, a slightly red. Nothing like that you see in there. And of course, cheetah also, the face, kind of like slightly drop with a black, like a tear mark on their eyes. So you're able to make a difference when you look at them. And then you know for sure you're not looking at a leopard by mistake there. And these type of cats, they all prefer dancey thicket. For them to able to hunt, get their own food, do come out to the open when they have to, because not everywhere here where it's thicket. So, but that's why when we get into that the first time they were in the drainage line system, thought they're gonna roost there for a day. But they managed to be brave enough for us, just for us, to be able to see them. Came out in that. So now the difference now you're looking at now, with a spot, if it was a jaguar, you would see a massive spot patterned, especially close to the eyes, and the eyes are different. I mean, spot patterns are different, huge spots in a jaguar. But this is so perfect. So while we're waiting here, I'm gonna take you quickly to another safari live.
Well, from leopard to our largest of the mammals. Here I have a magnificent, big herd of elephant. And this look like a mini kindergarten. I have counted almost 10 young ones. It is just amazing. It's just beautiful. There's no words, to explain this. You can see those three. They look like triplets. Very playful. Usually at this age, play is all that is in their mind. See, did you see that one try to kick backwards? Yeah, that's all they do. Their trunks are starting to develop some muscles, but it's not really useful. So all they do right now is just play. And they've been carried for almost 22 months. They're out in the world, and their mothers are really good mothers, so they have enough protection. And with a big herd like this, nothing can intimidate them. Even a big pride of lion has got no chance with this kind of herd. They're just everywhere. Actually, I don't know how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. I can count 28, but I'm missing about maybe 5 or 6. So about 35, I would say, 32, 35. And it's a mixture of males, like that guy. He is a male. I'm sure he's not permanently with them, but he just passed by. Maybe he is related to the matriarch, or maybe he's coming to do his rounds, making sure that there's no female in season, or there is a female in season. But looks like all in his mind right now is grazing, eating as plenty grass as possible. And looks like they love the grass in this area because there is no other noise apart from the plucking of the grass. Listen to that. Well, yeah, it's a beautiful backdrop of a forest with the Wembugia ugandensis tree. It's a tree that's almost coming into fruit, and they love it. It's got a small fruit that looks like an avocado, a miniature avocado, but it's a bit bitter and also sweet. So, I think they are in the forest checking if there's any fruit ready. Well, I'm gonna move on. Or maybe let me stick here for a little bit longer. Looks, this is a very beautiful scene. And while I do that, let's take you to another location.
We have our own beautiful scene here. As you can see, we managed to find the Birmingham Pride again down here at a waterhole. So not too far from where we had them yesterday in that giraffe carcass. I mean, you can still see these two here. Still very, very full, very fat, especially the one on the right there. That one sitting up now. Look at the stomach hanging down there as it's walking. That is all giraffe. All giraffe. So apparently there's about 14 of them, of these lions now around here. So the Birmingham Pride seem to have joined up somewhat. Only there's one Ross male, and then I think the old female with the young cub, well, the younger female that we saw about 2 days ago at night. I think they've all joined up together again, and they found themselves a little patch of shade. You can see these two just walking away, though, heading back towards the rest of the pride. They came here, I think, towards the water, maybe looking to have a drink, find some more shade. It's a bit of a breeze. So you can actually see there's disappearing there. You can see there's a few other lions in that patch of shade over there. And that's where they are disappearing back to. I think what we're going to try and do is move around and see if we can get another little vantage of where they all are. And also see which Ross male it is. So I haven't actually seen him yet. Rowan, we managed to find them. We went looking for the Birmingham Breakaway Pride, and we unsuccessful though. So what we're going to do, loop around here and see if we can get another look.
Well, it was impossible to leave. Yes, remember to talk to me, talk to us, #WildEarth, questions, comments are really welcome. These two looks like they're the same age, but I would say the one to the right could be older, either by a week or two, but that doesn't really matter. They play in the same class. Yes, looks like they're about, maybe I would give it about 4 months. I might be off, I might be on target. So yeah, almost that. This area, I must say, there is something about the grass, because everybody is just not doing anything else. It's only eating, 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 eating. That's all they're doing. You know, elephants, a fully grown elephant will eat up to 250 kilograms of grass. Miguel Jumbo, thank you for your comment. It's like an elephant kindergarten. Absolutely right. I think that is the right word, because there is too many young ones than adults. You know, from about 3 years downwards, there are very many of them. Very many, and it's just a beautiful sight to see. I don't know if it is the wildebeest that had pushed them away for the last 3 days. I was wondering where they had gone, but looks like they were staying in the trees, and now they have come out. They were in the forest. These are very thick forest, and it's quite a long way from where I am to the main river, so there's a nice, beautiful area where they can roam freely in the bush and feed on little different brushes and bushes. Looks like that guy got told off by the other guy who's approaching over there, who's much older. Just he was told off, you know, who are you? Get out of here. And he did obey by being submissive, turned away and faced away. Looks like there is a good number of males. There is those two, but there's another one that just came out of the bush. We'll be sharing that with you. He's come out. What was that? Yeah, elephants feed a lot, constantly feeding. They don't regurgitate, they don't chew their cud. They are hindgut fermenters, so they'll eat and pile it in their tummy, and before it's properly utilized, although they don't really utilize it, it takes about 4 days to get through their digestive system. Most of it comes out almost the same, and it's utilized by other animals. I have seen warthogs eating fresh elephant dung. You might say yuck, but it is true. I have seen, dung beetles, fight for it, making their dung balls so that they can lay an egg inside. Those are the two, but also once it dries, termites will feed on it. Will feed on it because it's not properly utilized. Also, when it dries up, it's very good to repel mosquitoes. I remember using it as a young man, around villages. So Jumbo Chief, did you ask why are the elephant tusks in the Mara so white? If that's the question, all tusks are white. All tusks are white. There's no tusks that is a different color, no matter where that elephant is. It's only that maybe the coloration of the soil or the trees that they debark, colors it to change the color. Like, for example, this one in front of us here, Bungei, once you're ready with that, we can share this tusk over here. Look at the tusk. You see, she has applied a bit of mud, and maybe if you find it very fresh with the mud, it would have been covered totally, and you might think it's a different color. It's only that she did apply the mud, or maybe while she was trying to dig for some mud to apply onto her body, she, smeared lots of mud on the tusk. That's when it looks like it's a different color. But all tusks are white. This color you see here. A very interesting tusk, that one. must be very interesting to see how I use those tasks. It will be interesting to see that. Kasi Jumbo, how are you today? Well, are elephants grumpy than other animals? I would say no. I cannot compare an elephant here in the Mara to a rhino in the Mara, or a lone elephant in the Mara, or a hippo in the Mara. I cannot compare them. Hippos are very aggressive. Black rhinos almost even worse than hippos, and lone buffaloes. So actually it depends on where you are. Some areas, if you go to Tsavo, the behavior of elephants is totally different, and because they've been in a lot of conflict with humans, so every time they hear vehicle, they are aggressive. But here in the Mara, it's totally different. I'm only about 30 feet from the nearest elephant, and they're not paying attention to me. So they are not aggressive like other animals, but also it differs from one area to the other. More elephants are coming out of the bush at the back there, but these two here are very playful. Look at them. Yeah. Well, this is amazing interaction, guys. I hope you're enjoying. You know, boys will be boys, and that is, you know, what they do best at this age, being very playful. That guy is trying to, you know, to show dominance to the other, you know, the female over there. Yeah, he's a boy. And that's what he'll be doing, you know, in the years to come. Remember, females reach maturity at the age of about 12, 13, and they'll give birth every almost about five years. Males later on in this, you know, very late, about 28 to 30 onwards, they'll come into season, and they can stay in must, which is a season where they look for males up to 1 year. Yeah, those are very playful little ones over there. I hope you're enjoying this. That's a naughty little one. Yeah, that small one is telling him, you know, what are you thinking of? You know, that's a beautiful big bull over there. Look at the size there between the young ones and those, the old one. Well, it's a beautiful temperature. It's just super cool. It's not hot at all, and elephants love this kind of temperatures. Okay, move a little bit. The elephant, we need to see the little ones. They're very, very cute. You can tell that he's trying to use the trunk, but not yet. Yeah, that's how they do the mock charge. They lift their heads up, fold their ears backwards, and run towards you. Yeah, those two looks like they're cousins, and they like each other. This is just, you know, amazing, guys. You know, there's so many, they're so quiet. You know, it's hard to believe that I'm surrounded by almost 35 elephants, and everybody is, you know, doing his own business. Remember that elephants' eyesight is very poor, but their sense of smell and hearing is equivalent to none. It is said they can hear a human walking up to around 2 miles away and smell him almost at the same distance. We have seen a good number of young ones born in the last couple of years. As you can see, they are doing very, very well, and their numbers are coming up. Julie, Jumbo, which bird is making that call? And I can tell you it is the African grey hornbill. I'm gonna look it up for you in my book and show you. It's African grey hornbill. Yeah, I can show you in the book over here quickly. It is this guy here, the first one, African grey hornbill. This one here, it's all the same bird. This over here, it's African grey hornbill, and the call is this one here. It's a pew, pew. You can hear it. It's a pew, 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 pew. Yeah, African grey hornbill. Yeah, let's get back to our elephants. Looks like this male here is really harassing everybody. He's making rounds, going around and checking if there's a female in heat. Usually he does that. And if there's a female in season, she'll break away from the rest and just run. And usually he follows in hot pursuit. She stops, and then the mating takes place. I don't know if I can find this African grey hornbill for you. It's somewhere up there. Well, I'm gonna stick here for a little bit. Let's take you somewhere else.
That sounds like some beautiful, peaceful things happening across there in the Mara. And we also have a very peaceful situation over here. Now we managed to find the rest of the lions lying all together here in the shade of this quarry, just attempting to digest giraffe. You can see all of them here, and right at the back there, in this first clump, is the Ross male. Oh yeah, I was a bit vague there. But yes, that over there is the one Ross male, so he has joined up. The Sabadot male is also here. He's moved off a little bit to our left, back towards that little waterhole. To relax there. But you can see them all lying here very comfortably, very close. I'm not sure which Ross male this is. We haven't really seen his face. He's facing the other way. I don't know if it's the nice one or the other one. But the fact that he's lying in the middle there, I would say most likely the less dominant one. Purely because that dominant one gets quite cross and he doesn't socialize as much. You can see that one's right in the middle. I think at least 2 other lions. It's amazing, like all of them just look heavily pregnant, all breathing very, very quickly. And just trying to stay in the shade as much as possible. You'll see some of them, like that one over there. A little bit of sun on her now. There's a very good chance that she will get up in the next sort of 10 minutes and move further under the tree. Because now as we wait here, the sun's obviously moving across the sky and the shade will get less and less and less as the sun obviously gets higher and higher. And then this female will move under the tree. As we're getting a few comments, Sandy's saying that it looks like a lion puddle. And that is exactly what it is. I mean, as we came around the corner here, and we just saw them all lying out here, it did look like that. Especially the way their stomachs are all just going up and down. It looks like a little wave of an ocean. But now you see that one. So that one now that the OD has zoomed in on, that is the young female that we saw with the mother the other night. And remember, I was saying that she's got an injury on her head. So at this angle, it's a bit hard to see, but you can see there's a dark patch right in between her ears, like her top of the crown of her head. That's where the hole is. So we're looking at it now, and it looks like a puncture wound. It's not really a tear. Like, I don't know, someone like hit her straight flat on their head with their claw, or it's a tooth mark, or what it is. I'm hoping she'll just move her head a little bit, and then we can all have an actual look in there. You guys can zoom in on your computers and your TVs, whatever. Let me know what you think it is. Bit hard to see now, though. But it doesn't look too bad. A little bit of sand, I think, inside of there, small stones. Obviously, the flies are going all over it. That's why she puts her head like that, I think, to get the flies out of it. There we go. Have a look there. You can see it. Briefly see. It's quite big. There's like a big circular area. And there, right in the middle, you can see there's like a hole there. There's all the hair missing. And then the hole on the inside. It looks like a puncture wound. You must agree on that. It's not a long sort of scratch. It's more of a sort of straight down. But it doesn't seem to faze her too much. You know, she's not pawing at it. She's not scratching it too much. Like lying like that, I think keeping the flies away from it, so they can't obviously get into the wound, because that would be quite irritating. And I think that's why she does sleep like that. But it seems to be okay. Not too bothered, which is good. I mean, if we saw what that Sabadot male healed from, I mean, a wound like this for her, more an inconvenience rather than a life-threatening issue. Beverly, that is very true. That is exactly what it looks like. So Beverly's saying it looks like they each swallowed a watermelon. And Beverly, I would agree with you. All of them, even those little ones, look like they swallowed maybe 2 watermelons, some of them. If Odie just zooms in on the one at the back, those ones in the next patch of shade, they seem to be a bit less full. If you have a look at them, especially the one on the right and the one on the left, actually, their stomachs are not as full. The one in the middle has eaten a bit, you can see that. But those other ones are definitely less full than the ones in the forefront here. Maybe, I don't know, they were too hot, they just didn't eat as much, or they ate at the beginning and they just digested more than the rest of the lions. I'm not sure, but they ate that giraffe very quickly. I mean, yes, it was a young giraffe, but they ate it pretty quickly. So you see, you're getting a little bit of movement here as they're getting into the sun. The shade's moving, they will then move and try and reposition themselves to stay in the shade as much as possible. I mean, we're sitting in the sun, myself and Odie, and it is cooking. I can literally feel my arm cooking right now. Okay, so we are back. Not much happening. We're just talking about how hot it is. I think now, it's not even, it's just gone 8:30, and we're already sitting probably over 30 degrees Celsius here. So these lions are going to struggle today. They are going to struggle. It's going to be a lot of energy for them, trying to digest, trying to regulate their body temperatures. It is going to be a very long day for them. I mean, at least for us, we sweat, we can have a shower, we can do that sort of thing. These lions, they're going to struggle. And imagine something like an elephant, a buffalo, a rhino. These are large animals. They're all very, very dark in color. They struggle in the heat like this. Luckily, there is a bit of a breeze. You'll most likely find out this afternoon we'll go past lots of water holes. You'll see signs of where elephants, buffaloes, rhinos, warthogs all come into the water, sort of splash themselves. Unfortunately, the lions are not going to do that. They don't really like water all of that much. If they have to walk through a river, they'll do that. But we saw some of them drinking yesterday, and even just putting their paws into the edge of the pan, a little water hole. they don't like doing that. They really don't. So they just persevere, sitting in the shade like this, just panting. You see the one with their head up in the middle, that mouth open, just panting, 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 trying to keep cool as much as possible. You can actually see on her chin there, there's a little spike of hair coming out. That is from drinking. It's actually a bit darker, right in the front of the mouth. It's a lot darker than the fur on the side because the water in the water holes obviously very dirty, very muddy. A lot of the water holes at the moment have got sort of like an algae, and they're very, very green. Anyway, that stains the lions, like the front of their faces, so you can see which ones have been drinking, which ones haven't been drinking. I mean, it does, but you can see, and not her, but you look at some of these other lionesses at the front here, you can see their paws are very clean. Okay, so we got our question from, I think it's Tiger Jaw, wanting to know when do the male youngsters here leave the pride. So Tiger Jaw, we have 3 young males here. So where that one lay down, that was a female, but we got that young white male there just in front now, almost in the middle, and then he's got 2 sort of brothers which are on the left-hand side of this lion huddle over here. There we go, those 2 behind the Ross male. Those are the other 2 males. And they are now about, I think they're just over 2 years old. I think they're close on about 2 years, 2 months, 2 years, 3 months. The Tiger Jaw, they will leave in about a year. So it's between sort of 2.5 and 3 years old that they leave. They might leave a little bit earlier. I think if this Sabadot male gets kicked out and he does finally leave, there's a good chance that they will join with him and all go off together. But we'll just have to wait and see. Generally for lions, it's sort of between 2.5, 3, maybe 3.5 is the average that they would venture. So yeah, we just have to wait and see.
So from the lions to our vultures, who seems like they're having a very good time, yeah? They're eating, and some of them are actually fighting off each other. So when the carcass is small, sometimes you find that there's so much going on. Everyone's a share. And because there's a hierarchy in order, so they have to wait patiently until those ones that are higher in the hierarchy get to fill up their crops, and the rest join. Oh, look at that. Sometimes the old ones bully the younger ones. Also, there's a Rupel's griffon, and I can see some African whiteback vulture as well. Just listen to that sound there. Very lovely sound. So I'm not sure who killed this, who made this kill. Could be a cheetah by the look of it, but it seems like they've lost the cheetah in these long grasses, because cheetahs also have to eat as much as they can, because sometimes they can fall prey to other bigger carnivores. So whenever they get something to eat, they need to eat as much as they can, because if they don't give up the food, then they'll end up giving them up themselves. So that is the reason why cheetahs have to hunt on the daylight. So they're diurnal hunters, where they'll eat during the day or make a hunt, a kill during the day. You can see some other vultures resting there. There's a tawny eagle up on the left branch. Tawny eagle are opportunistic raptors where they'll come and scavenge at a carcass, and sometimes they also find prey by locating, well, they're perched on the trees, depending on the termite mound. They go for rodents, snakes, lizards. But if there's an opportunity like this, they'll definitely come and share with these vultures. I'm always excited whenever I see vultures, because I know they're so much in control of whatever is left after the predators have made a kill. If you are not for these vultures, then we'll be having lots of carcasses hanging around, lots of flies. So with this, they also help that in control, as well as hyenas who will also come and take off the bones. And still more coming in. Everyone wants a share, and for those who can't fight, they wait. Or maybe they've already had their share. Vayo, thank you so much for your question. Yes, sometimes you find that the scrap of the skin of these animals, if there's something left over, because they have very thick bills that can be able to penetrate on those skins and tear those skins. So that is the reason why we have the pecking order, where we have the Rupel's griffon vulture, we have the African whiteback vulture, and the lappet-faced vulture, who have strong bills to pierce through those skins. Their tongue have spines that face backwards, so whenever they eat, whatever scrap they get they're able to swallow that in a very fast way. So they reckon that they can fill up their crops within 2 minutes. Very fast eaters. So you can see how many they are. So each and everyone has to eat as fast as they can. And when they fill up their crops, they walk towards the side and let others eat. And if they have chicks in their nesters, they'll go back to their nest and regurgitate food and then come back to carry on eating. Glenn, thank you so much for your question. Vultures have a very good vision, so most of the time they find carrion or carcasses by sight. It's reckoned that they can see carrion size of a side plate up to about 150 meters in the sky. So often they'll find carcasses by sight. Seems like there's a feeding frenzy there. So after these vultures leave here, there'll be another one that is the last one to appear on these carcasses. The hooded vulture, who has a very sharp bill and narrow bill to be able to scrap off the little flesh that is left on the bones. So I'm going to sit here and watch as they devour this carcass as I take you over to another live location.
Well, from vultures back to elephants and baboons. This troop is very big, and oh look, you know. The young elephant doesn't like the baboon. Get out of my way. Who are you? Get out of the sight. Yeah, I don't know, maybe it's the first time that young elephant has seen a baboon, and he didn't like, you know, either the smell or the size of the hair, maybe. And he decided to show the baboon, you know, who's boss. Yeah, you might have been here more than me, but I can definitely chase you out of the area. That was cool. Well, these are different setting. These are the slightly small herd of elephant, not the one I was with, but the baboons are very scattered everywhere. Very many of them. Some big males, you know, hiding in the grass there. And baboons are all over. There's a tree that they're playing. Looks like a little jungle gym. Bungay will be sharing that with you. But it's just a beautiful setting that I have here. Yeah, look at that. It's just beautiful. Yeah, that is the tree where they are. The others on the ground. I don't know which ones Bungay will show us, but he's gonna choose which ones are active. Yeah, there is these two that are also grooming, but very wary of us. They're not very relaxed. Looks like she's not very clean, that one. She's full of insect, you know. Oh, she doesn't like the elephant approaching them. Oh, there comes the elephant. Still chasing the baboon. I thought it was over, but it's still going for the baboon. Yeah, looks like the little guy really showed that baboon who's boss. And he got really loud when he saw the cousin. I don't know if you heard that. Actually, the baboon now has climbed the tree. I don't know if you see it, Bungay. It's over there, exactly. Yeah, I think that's the only solution to get away from that little menace. Yeah, doesn't want to see baboons. That's a safer place. Yeah, from that height, the baboons can really see well. And yeah, there's another one. They can alarm everybody if there was danger. The baboons here are not used to humans at all. We haven't had any contact, and so if I was to get out of the vehicle, which I'm not going to, they will just leave, they'll just run deeper into the bushes. And if it's a big tree like the ones previously we saw, they'll go further up. This guy needs a partner. He needs a friend. Look at what he's doing. He really needs a friend to come and clean him, because he doesn't have, and he has to do it by himself. It's really tough. Look at that. That's why you need a friend. Maybe he's a bully. That's why nobody wants to help him. But you can tell definitely he's trying to bite. He's trying to remove it. It's not easy at all. Remember, this is the olive baboon, the only baboon we find here in the Masai Mara. And they are preyed on by mainly lion and leopard. Here comes our tiny elephant. Here is our tiny elephant. Is he gonna kill me? Is he gonna attack me? Looks like he's trying to. Well, I'm gonna stick here. Let's find out what's happening somewhere else.
And we are still here. You can see it changed a little bit. A lot of these lions have actually got up and moved closer to the tree. One of the lionesses was actually resting her head on one of the branches, but I think she found that a bit uncomfortable. So she has now repositioned herself a little bit. You can see the shade has actually moved quite a lot. We had one lioness go down into the riverbed off to our right, but now she came back up. Obviously didn't find anything comfortable there. And I think this one here that we are seeing will probably be the next one to move. See the sun slowly creeping towards her. I think there's a good chance she will be up and maybe going to lie next to the other two white ones. There's a bit more shade there in the sort of central part. I think this is their position. You see there's a whole gap there in the middle of shade behind these two white ones. I'm sure some lion will go and fill shortly. But I won't be surprised if it come back this afternoon and they will be in between these two big bushes. You can see those three lions right at the back there. Their shade, I think, will hold out a bit longer. I think they are the lucky ones. They planned this properly for themselves. It's going to be right there. I mean, just hold on. Yeah, look this. That one's got a paw onto one of the Ross males. And then if you go a little bit to the right, only to that female, you can just see the edge of her paw there on her back leg. That lion, a little one, there's another paw. He is spread out across those two adults. I think he's just trying to open up a little bit. You know when you lie on your bed and you just like starfish, just to get some air flowing over your body. That's what some of these lions are trying to do. That breeze is quite a blessing for them. And they're just trying to pant, get the air covering their body, trying to cool down as much. Not a lot of forethought in terms of weather and digestion for these guys. So that's the female that was sleeping on one of the branches. Just to her right there, you can see the branch behind her. That's what she was sleeping on. A bit uncomfortable, so she's now facing that breeze on her relax.
As the lions are trying to keep cool, some of the vultures have already left. Although I think they're going to cool off somewhere. Now it's a good time because we have warm air, the thermals, they're picking up the thermals. So it's easy for them to fly. Because as soon as they get to the sky, you see they're almost like gliding, which also helps them fly a long distance away. That is one main reason that vultures will use the thermals or pick up the thermals to go and find food. So right now, because the carcass is almost completely devoured, they're leaving to another scene where they'll find more food. But the ones that were lower ranking or the ones that didn't have a share have walked in at least to get some scraps left. Oh, but there's lots of fight going on. Everyone wants a little bit of a piece. So by flapping their wings and actually showing how big they are, that is one way of showing dominance and trying to get rid of one another on the carcass. If you can't win, you lose and you fly off, and there's evident that some of them are leaving. Super noisy. I love that sound. Bit of a standoff there. Okay, get off. seems like that one is the boss there. Keeps on fighting everyone off. See, it's going after each other. Ron, thank you so much for your question. We have our biggest species of vulture here called the leopard-faced vulture or the Nubian vulture. Nubian because it used to roam around Sudan, which was former Nubian region. So the leopard-faced vulture is the biggest vulture that we have around. And he's not present here, or he or she, the vulture is not present here. I like the presence because they have that kind of a Dracula walk as they come to these carcasses. You see them walking and chasing off each other. It's been a very nice scene here watching these vultures as they're taking on each other and devouring the carcass. I'm going to take you over to another live location.
Well, I'm still in the same spot, and it's just a lovely scene. Small herd, and there's too much happening here. I'm being entertained by the little guy. Yeah, I'd say he's about maybe 3 months, but full of joy. We saw him chase the baboon, then he decided he really wanted to come for me, but now he has sort of relaxed. Yeah, sometimes you feel like, they have a sugar rush. Oh, looks like he's starting to learn how to use the trunk. Look at that. He's going to pull something? Or is it going to become boring? Pulling, but not taking it to the mouth. Take it to the mouth. Are you going to eat it? Come on, mommy, we want to see. I don't know, maybe there's a word that has been spoken and looks like it is time to get away from humans and move to the bushes. I don't know if that was the word said, but looks like everybody is following mommy now, heading into the bushes. But that was interesting to see him pick up the grass and take it to the mouth, because it's a very early stage for him to be learning that. But it's nice always to see that he's starting to learn that it's going to be a very useful tool, the trunk, and he's going to need it throughout his life. Well, we can say goodbye to those ones, but I have more over here, so I'm not worried. It's quite a good number. Look at this. Some young guys, looks like males. Well, Critter Freak, thank you for your comment. A lot of jumbo action. Indeed, there has been a lot of jumbo action. And I must tell you, the elephants here in the Mara are so gentle, but you have to really know what you're doing. Parking close to them like this brings a lot of excitement to me, but it is with time that you have to learn what they don't want and what they want. But it is just beautiful just to have park, watch them do their own thing without disturbing them, and then when they want to leave, they just leave you and go into the bushes. It's just wonderful. Like these 2 ones remaining here. These are part of the few remaining. I'm sure they're going to be saying goodbye soon. If not, I will be saying goodbye. But they're just enjoying themselves really, really close to the car. We don't need, to zoom in, and we don't need to actually use our equipment to really struggle, bring them close to you, but they're just right here. Yeah, and this one looks like maybe he's around 2.5 years, this little guy here. Yeah, what is happening? Yeah, interesting. Well, it's been a very fantastic morning for me. I hope the same from, for you guys, from my colleagues in Southern Africa with different sightings. The lions, the elephants, the baboons, the birds. It's been a great pleasure hosting you. Hope to see you this afternoon. And from my directors and my cameramen and all my colleagues, all I can say is bye-bye and see you this afternoon.
Why is the Mara special? It's one of the only few places that you can find the annual wildebeest migration. I will still go for the lion. The main reason is a sign of royalty, leadership in my tribe, and apart from that, over here, it is feared by all but loved by everyone. Join me in my next adventure in the African wild on DSTV channel 183.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and